Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chalk Talk. If you haven't been here, welcome. Today we're talking about dumb money.
Dumb Money
Um,
review. Reviewing
yeah,
Dumb
dumb
Money.
money. Yeah. Well, released in September 8th of this year and at the Toronto Film Festival, and then a week later in the United States.
I've never been to a
Uh,
film festival, but it would be nice to go
yeah,
to
it'd be
one.
interesting. All right, I've never been to one either, but yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
So
But
overall, thoughts on the movie?
my overall thoughts on the movie.
Yeah.
One moment. Um, what were we saying?
Overall impression of the
My
movie.
overall impression, and I'll give it. You want to give it to a 1 to 10 rating?
1 to 10.
Mm,
Okay.
We'll do that at the end of the show. Overall impression, I thought it was a really, really, really good movie. Um, Whoever wrote the movie, uh, really hit it on the head. I think they got many of the real world facts right, many of like the trading culture and like how overall retail feels and felt in the market and like the whole like 9 to 5er working class middle class people versus the 1% and friends and co. I think that really hit that on the head and how people feel through the characters like what's her name, America Ferrara. She
Oh,
plays the mother,
yeah. America
the
Ferrera. She plays Jennifer Campbell.
yeah, Ferrera, Jennifer Campbell. She plays the mother who's the nurse and the friend who doesn't believe. Also, I really like that because they also hit that on the freaking head. Like, as an investor or somebody who trades, when you tell people who do not invest and who don't trade and stuff,
Hmm.
like about investing in trading, they think you're crazy. And like, it's like to them, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
going to, a slot machine and, sticking your money in and pulling a lever. Or, and I shouldn't say nowadays, you just tap on a button. But I think yeah, overall, I think it was a really, really, really good movie, and all the characters are really good. The actors, I don't know, they just really did a really good job. I like the guy who played Keith Gill, who plays Roaring Kitty, and they actually used the person. He's from Brockton, Massachusetts,
Wait, well,
and
hold up. Before you get into that, let me just give this storyline or synopsis. So Dumb Money is the I don't like IMDb's. I don't know. So I'm going to use Wikipedia's. So the plot. In June 2020, a relatively poor man living in Massachusetts named Keith Gill notices that the video game retailer GameStop's stock is falling due to the company struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic, and so starts a YouTube live stream to share his thoughts with his viewers. In January 2021, the GameStop short squeeze occurs due to activity on subreddit r Wall Street Bets, and Gill takes advantage of that by buying stock, gaining 9 million within 2 days, while stock market company CEOs lose hundreds of millions within the same time frame. Wall Street Bets is suddenly shut down, and Gill quickly starts to lose millions of dollars. And I mean, it's basically, for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, about the battle between retail investors and Wall Street executives who are taking retail investors by manipulating the stock market by aggressive shorting of stocks. So, but yeah, you were saying, what about Gill?
no, that he was just it was just my probably my favorite actor. I mean, there were way more known actors than him, I feel. Obviously, like Pete Davidson, Vincent D'Onofrio, Nick Offerman, and Seth Rogen. It was pretty cool they had Seth Rogen to play a part like that. Usually, he plays like the quirky, goofy, funny, laid back kind of stoner guy, but he played a real person, Gabe Patokin. That's also I like it. I like how they kept everything real world, like they used real world characters' names, like
Yeah.
Ken Griffin. Ken Griffin
Yes.
and
Ken Griffin was played by
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman and I'm sorry.
Vin-
And let's see.
Seth
Who
Rogen played Gabe Platokin
Oh,
and
Plotkin.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Plotkin. Yeah,
Plotkin,
Seth Rogen
Plotkin,
played Gabe Plotkin of Melvin
Plotkin.
Capital,
Yeah,
and Nick
of Melvin
Offerman
Capital.
played Ken Griffin of Citadel Securities.
Yeah. So the guy who played, Steve Cohen,
Yeah.
yeah, that was played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who is and then Steve Cohen, the actual real guy. He's a hedge fund manager,
Mhm.
and he's the owner of the New York Mets.
Is he really?
Yeah, and he had the biggest record fine for insider trading ever.
Wow. I guess it's fitting.
Ready? $1.8 billion with a B, billion. 1.8 billion.
That's
But
just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I don't know. I like how they use everything in the real story, how everything happened in like 2020 into 2021, like
Hmm.
The whole Robin Hood thing, and like the actual like owner and CEO of Vlad, and then like the co-owner who's never really talked about, and just like
Oh
how
yeah.
they deleted the buy button when GameStop was into the hundreds, and when all that shit went down, and I like how they got all that right, and then how Gabe of Melvin Capital basically had to ask for a bailout by Ken Griffin, Citadel, and then Steve Cohen in his fund, and they were like investors, aka they just helped bail them out, like, hey,
Hmm.
give us 25% of Melvin Capital,
Do you remember
we'll
what he was saying?
restructure. Huh?
Do you remember what he was saying when he was asking for money? That was the whole thing. It was like, oh, don't be like your father. Ask for money. That was a big thing in the film for
Oh
that.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah. It's funny. Ken Griffin, the character, like he's just super cold. Like,
I thought that was hilarious. I was like, the way they depicted Ken Griffin is hilarious. First of all,
I mean,
first of all, Nick
he's like
Offerman
that.
as Ken Griffin is great, and the facial expressions great, and
Yeah.
the lack of lines really got to me. So the way that he intonated his sentences and spoke, the manner in which he spoke was hilarious. And I'm like, is that him in a regular life? Like Ken Griffin. And then the fact that they gave him like limited
Mhm.
lines. I'm like, is that like they don't want to get sued by Ken Griffin because he's out here buying Constitution copies for millions of dollars and XYZ because the dude's crazy.
Mhm.
I love the
Yeah.
scene where they're talking spoilers. I love the scene where they're talking about like the ragging on each other about who did what worse. Like he's like, well, who moved to Miami to evade taxes and laws?
Yeah. Which Ken Griffin did. He moved to Citadel. They still have an office in Chicago, but they moved to Miami. Gabe was already there.
I
Gabe,
like how they depicted
of the
the
Capitol.
difference between like the lives of people with money and the lives of people like with extreme money and the lives of people with like struggling
Yeah.
with money. And it was just like, who
True
flies a
wealth.
whole bunch of people down for a party? Stuff like
Ah,
that.
I also like, yeah, exactly. How when they introduce characters, also
Hmm.
spoiler alert, when they introduce characters, it has their net worth, and it's like Ken Griffin, 20 billion, Steve Cohen,
Yeah,
you
that was
know,
good.
4 billion, and then Gabe. Like when you see their other net worths, you're like, oh, 400 million. And you're like, well, yeah, I don't know, 400 million still is a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
But and then like they introduce like the 9 to 5ers, the everyday
Hmm.
people, and it's like $163. And then there's like another, it's like negative 14,000. And then student
Yeah.
loan debt, negative the two kids going to school, the characters, it's like negative $147,000. And they each made like almost $300,000, the two girls. And then like the mother
The
never
two
took profit.
girls, just as a side note, the two girls were I think Mila Harold as Riri and
Mhm.
uh Talia Ryder as Harmony. So Riri and Harmony. two college investors. It was funny to see that it kind of like spread through the parties, to see like the news
Oh
from
yeah.
Reddit had spread to college parties, and college kids were like getting invested into Wall Street bets and GameStop, and like the whole dorm. They had that scene where like the whole hallway of the dorm was like on edge about what's happening with Robinhood when they
Oh yeah.
blocked buying. I thought that was
Mhm.
interesting. Got all
Yeah.
these people hanging on, but go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't really. I don't remember how I was even talking about before. Just the two girls. No, I was just talking about the net worths and
Yeah,
everything. How like it shows when it introduces characters, and it's like you see the difference, like 20, like billions and billions and hundreds of millions, and then like
yeah,
people who like are literally have a negative net worth, down to
yeah,
just like people. It's like, oh, they have $300, and then the rest of their money literally just goes to them paying their bills, and they literally only have $400, and that's just like a regular person.
yeah. In my opinion, I also thought the movie was really great. It had a great set of actors and actresses, and the acting was great. And at no point in the film did you feel like people were acting, if that makes sense. Like you logically know that they're acting, but you get into the film, they give you the
Yeah,
emotion
it's
of
the
being part of the
characters.
story.
Yeah.
And I love how it was like comedic at times and serious. Like they added like comedic elements, like
Mhm.
when Seth Rogen's character, he like jumps out of his house and runs through his yard, breaks through the bushes and goes to another house, and then runs up the house, and it's his office. So he's like, he has two houses back to back, and it's his office, and he's just like knees up running. He's
He's
like
just trying
yelling
to
at
get to the
people.
TV to see like
Yeah.
CNBC.
Huh?
He was like just trying to get to the TV or something, right? Like just to see
Yeah,
like what was happening. He's like, "Are you plugged
exactly.
in?"
He's like, I need to go to my other house to watch the television. And while he's
Yeah,
arguing on the phone with a dude about buying a property to knock it down to build a tennis court, I'm like,
that's crazy. What a life! Like your life is literally you're just like stocks, watching them, staying tuned in on like Twitter, watching TV,
yeah.
pricing. What a life!
I like um, how they like showed, they did like present, went a flashback and then came back. Cause he opened with being like Cohen being like, wait, Cohen and, what's his name? My brain. Oh, Plotkin, Cohen and Plotkin on the phone. And Plotkin's like, they're not going to hold. And Cohen's like, oh, they're holding. They're
Hold on,
holding.
are you plugged in? He's like, GameStop's over $100. So it's like $109.
Yo, what was that scene with Jenny? And she's like, diamond hands.
Yeah, I
Like they
remember
like zoomed
seeing
in on her
GM.
hands.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember that point too. They actually talk about that second rip that the GME did after it ran into like 400, and then it was like it got boom all the way down to $40, and I was like, oh shoot, it's probably over $40 now. And then the thing was just like boom again. Boring
Yeah.
Kitty went back on the internet and was like, I'm bullish on GameStop, and then like it went like heck way over $100 again.
Yeah. When they had shut it down, and then Robinhood had been shut out, and they were like freaking out, that's something I think is really important to mention. The A lot of retail investors will be on the edge of their seats for another person's trades. So they were waiting for Roaring Kitty's like commentary. They're like, I'm not selling unless Roaring Kitty sells. I'm
Hmm.
not doing this unless he does this. Well, what is he doing? It's freaking me out. Where is he at? You know what I mean? And that was one thing that they were really making fun of retail investors for. After that, they were like mindless whatever, and then they started calling everything meme stocks. It's just a meme because you're not proper investors. I'm like, if your money's in the market, you're an investor and you need to respect. I was like, that just shows they're just showing their ass. That's everybody showing their ass. We know,
Yeah.
so it's exposed, and you're exposing yourself, calling people idiots, and like these are the people who are investing in your companies. So it's like, oh, you want to make fun of retail investors? They should all just shut down companies. It's the same thing as picketing or protesting. It's just a financial protest. And so I thought it was I thought it was hilarious how they like subpoenaed that guy, um, Keith Gill, to come and testify in front
Mhm.
of Congress like he did something wrong. And it
Yeah,
was
that
like,
actually happened,
yeah, when the little guy, starts to get a leg up, they make new rules. And they mention that. He's like, it wasn't illegal then, it may be now. You know what I mean? Like they make up rules for their own profit, for their own benefit. I was like,
Hmm.
this really is touching home. Plus, like the scenes where they make it clear like how the economy has destroyed families, how
Hmm.
like the market destroyed families with the hedge funds and everything we're doing, and they leaned into that. They gave some stories and stuff like that. So it really was emotive. I would say it really was a good film. It wasn't like Mission Impossible, like, oh my god, but it was a great film in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't very long. It was just long enough. They didn't drag anything. It was like 100, I looked it up, it was 104 minutes.
I like how they were able to convey everything they wanted to convey concisely and to the point within a good amount of time. Because remember, we were talking, you were like, oh, this movie's gonna be 2 hours. I was like, this movie cannot be 2 hours. I cannot sit through a 2 hour movie.
That's like the average movie though, 120 minutes
I
usually.
know it. That's why I don't go to the movies. I just watch them at home because I can give myself like a break. What did they used to call those?
Wow, what a horrible AMC investor that you are.
I went, and anytime I go to
Now we
AMC,
went to AMC to watch the
anytime I go to
GameStop
AMC,
movie.
I watch the whole movie if possible. It has to be a movie I like. I invest in the AMC, so I'm not horrible. I buy
We
tickets
spent a
and
lot of
I
money.
buy the stock. Okay,
We
so
we spent a lot of money that day just to go see that movie
well,
for like for popcorn, drinks, candy, tickets.
are we talking about Jennifer Campbell a lot of money?
No, I mean I
We're
spent like
talking about
$45.
Ken Griffin a lot of money because really,
It's like $100 if you like for two people for a movie.
was it
Just like
100? It was not.
I mean like if each person's getting their own popcorn, their own drink, candy, the two tickets, it's like at least 80, 90.
Combined.
Yeah, I spent like 45 just myself.
You did?
And
How much? Oh yeah, you bought candy, a drink,
I
popcorn.
bought, yeah, I bought a drink, popcorn, and Reese's Pieces because I was like, I'm going to be a fat and watch this movie.
Yo, remember I was so excited. I love AMC popcorn and I love popcorn, but I love AMC popcorn because it's dairy-free butter, right? So I need dairy-free because I have an allergy. And I bought a bag of popcorn and we walked into that movie and I spilled half of my popcorn. I was just
I
like,
saw,
well, this is where I am now. This is
I
it.
thought you just like spilled a little bit when we first got in there, and I was like, no. And then like halfway through the movie, I got up to use the bathroom, and I was like, holy crap! She's like, her whole bag's on the floor.
My whole bag was on the floor. I was so upset. I was like, I can't leave. I don't want to miss
How did you
anything.
spill the whole thing?
I struggle sometimes. I have
The
a lot
whole
of stuff in
thing.
my hands.
The whole
I
thing.
half of it. I had half of it. And then I cleaned it up after the movie. But yo, I was so sad. I was like, my popcorn.
Yeah.
Especially after getting my braces off.
Mhm.
Sad. But anyway, yeah, the movie was great.
Back to the movie. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Well,
Um,
also, I like the wife. And I don't know if you noticed that the wife was
Val's
played
wife,
by, huh?
like Roaring Kitty's wife,
Yeah. Let's see. Who played Shailene Woodley
Shailene
played
Woodley as
Caroline
Karen Gill,
Gill.
Caroline
Yeah.
Gill.
So for me as a woman, I was watching and her her depiction of emotion at the times is A plus. And I was like, this is a loyal, dedicated wife. A
Because he had 11 and
loyal,
a half.
dedicated wife. I was like, either she is in defeat or she's like, I'm gonna trust my husband, or she was like, this is insanity, or maybe it was all of the above, because she was like, I love the scene where she was like, I'm going to my mother's. And then he comes back, he's like, I thought you were going to your mother's. Well, you took the car and fuck it, do what you got to do. Like she was
Yeah.
totally supportive, encouraging the whole way, even when they could
Yeah.
have cashed out at like what they were like at 2 million or something.
No, no. I was gonna say that when they went to the parents' house to tell Keith's parents he had $11.5 million
Oh yeah.
and he wouldn't sell. And the parents and then the brother, Pete Davidson, who paid his brother, was all like, "Oh, 11.5 million! Oh my God, you crazy, yeah." And then she was just like, chill. Keith knows what he's doing. He's been obsessing about this for more than a year now.
Mm-hmm.
He got this far. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but what I think was important was that they didn't make her blindly just believe in her husband. Like they showed her internal struggle with what was going on.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very humanistic element that they put in there that really drove home like the situation of what was going on and the vibe of the movie. So it was great. Yo, what was the brother? They had Pete Davidson in there as the brother as Kevin Gill. That was an interesting choice and I think a good touch for comedic relief.
Mhm. Yeah. He put it with, sorry, what was that?
The brother, Kevin,
Oh,
played by
Kevin,
Pete
Pete Davidson.
Davidson.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was interested to see him in the movie. It was a good but different cast, like Seth Rogen, Nick Offerman, Pete Davidson.
It was a good eclectic cast of people that worked well together in a
Yeah.
video setting. I thought it was a great cast. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yo, the and then I liked how they had GameStop actually in the film. Like
Oh, the
they had the
actual
guy that was
store and
work
everything,
yeah,
and the
Marcos.
GameStop. Yeah, the
Anthony
GameStop
Ramos played
employee.
Marcos GameStop employee and they kind of drove home the idea of like being owned by the system. Oh,
Hmm.
that's why financial freedom has been such a like on the forefront these past couple years since especially after GameStop
After COVID
because
too.
yeah, because it's just like the whole idea of financial oppression, but that's the system and
Hmm.
people were waking up to it. I'm just surprised this film even got pushed out to theaters first of all. Like they first announced this movie and I was like, oh, it's going to be straight to TV film or something. No, it went into theaters. I was like, they allowed that to happen. You got a real life supervillain Ken Griffin still existing as the runner of Citadel and they still got this pushed through.
Yeah.
Yo, and
He
then
lied.
the
Ken
uh-huh.
Griffin lied under oath.
Yeah, and then Vlad, the depiction of Vlad is hilarious and then they played the
Mhm.
clips. They acted out the interviews, right? And people who haven't seen Vlad's interviews would be like, "Oh, that's just comedy." And then they show the real interviews afterwards, and
Yeah,
you're
they
like,
showed,
"Wow,
yeah,
this
with
dude
Congress.
is insanely just out of this
Yeah.
world, an
It's
alien."
funny that they actually showed the part where in real life that
Mm-hmm.
the Congress that one of the congressmen interviewing Ken Griffin was like, Ken, how many people are in the room with you right now? And he like even in the real video he hesitates to answer. And he's like, I
The
asked you a
guy's like,
question. How many people are in the room with you right now? And he's like, five, six. Like this he probably has like a whole legal team and half the company in the room.
because they know,
Yeah. And don't
yeah,
screw up. You're worth 20 billion.
yeah. So I just wanted to also mention that, like, it was about fraud in the markets, and that was the real, you know, message of the movie was like retail investors versus the market apes. They even mentioned AMC apes and other stuff in the movie. And they also talked about how like the federal court dismissed a class action lawsuit by investors against Citadel and they dropped that. And then the SEC is investigation and then they drop that. So it just shows you that everybody's in cahoots. So
Mhm.
it's a fun word, cahoots.
Cahoots.
But yeah.
Well, anyway.
Melvin Capital tanks. It's just a lot of stuff happening. And it's still what, 3 years after, and still a bunch of corruption.
Drake. Yeah, the market's horrible now. Hell.
Yeah. In the remember when they were saying that GameStop squeeze wasn't the real squeeze?
Yeah, it was just pushed up by pure volume and call options. It technically, like shorts never closed.
Yeah. I felt bad because at the end where they sell, like, talk about like their new net worth, everybody sold except for Jenny. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, damn, Jenny's a bag holder.
She
And
had
you have
over
to
a
wonder,
half a million
was she at
dollars.
work and couldn't sell? Was she just like, was she a person that was like, no, that's not the highest it can go? Like that
Yeah, I think
happens.
so.
That happens every day on the market.
Oh,
And I found an article where it said like she's only ever sold 5 shares at like 400 and something dollars, and she has just continued to put in money and continue to diamond hand. She's like, I believe in the cause, and if this thing goes to the moon, I want to make sure I have my ticket. And there are diehard people like that. You'll see it, the algorithms and where everybody's watching, all the retail investors on all the apps now. Yeah, Google's recording even the movement of your irises on your phones. They're recording these conversations in the chats, so they're monitoring what they're doing because of Wall Street bets. And
and
people
Reddit.
are still like, to the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a good movie. What would you rate it? 1 out of 10. 10 being the best.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Um, I would give it a solid 8.
An 8? Yeah. I think I'd give it like an 8.5,
Yeah.
8.7.
Nothing against the movie, but it's just like if I'm comparing with for me what an 8.5 and a 9 is, it's like okay. It was a great movie though. Definitely for me, I'd say 8 out of 10.
Yeah. It's funny to see the depiction of people in real life switching over to YouTube. Like, cause when they introduced Gill and they're talking about like him YouTubing, he's like just an analyst and blah. And he looks like it's like a serious scene. He's talking to his wife. She's like, go record, go record. And all of a sudden, this dude just slides in in a kitty cat shirt and a headband. And it's
Yeah,
like, what the?
that bad
This is
dude.
so weird. And it's so
That's
real.
exactly how it was in real life.
It's
Yeah.
so real. Yeah. It's like, oh, this moment,
Lowering
it went
speed.
from serious to kind of not serious, and you're kind of jarred, but it's like we're right now recording on YouTube. Well, I mean,
Hmm.
for YouTube. So
Yeah. We're using Zoom.
I don't want to talk about Zoom every time we record. They upset me. Except I love you, Zoom. Thank you, because you've made this easier.
Hello, Zoom.
Give us a discount. Sponsor. Anyway, Dumb Money. Watch it. Go see it if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, because this was a bunch of spoilers. You shouldn't have watched this video. And
You
if you
shouldn't
have
have watched
seen,
this video.
I hope you liked it. You could leave a comment or anything that what you thought or anything you was important to you that we missed. But it was good. It was a good movie.
Yeah, definitely. I would see it again.
You would see it again?
Definitely. Yeah, I'll definitely like
Then
a second time.
that's
Definitely.
that means you're an 8 with a shadow of a 9.
Come on. I'll rewatch a 7 if it's like.
You just complained about the cost of money spent and then said you would see it again. So it's an 8 with the cape of a 9.
Well, maybe not in the theaters, but I would definitely see it
Oh,
again. Like if it comes out on
that's fair.
Netflix or something, I'll definitely watch it at least a second time.
I think I would go see it in movies again. I would see it in theaters again.
Maybe, maybe.
If
Kind of.
someone I knew was like, I haven't seen this, you want to go to the movies with me? And I was like, what do you want to see? And they were like, Dumb Money. And I'd be like, okay, let's go.
All right, if that was the case, probably I'd go. But like, I don't think I'd go. It's like, hey, let's go again. Yeah,
Yeah.
anywho, I was trying to get my mother to see it. I was like, go and watch it. It's a good movie. My sister saw it. Well, one of my sisters. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, Dumb Money, 8.7/9.
Okay. All right. Oh,
Personally.
the money.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm awkward. Thank you for watching.
Thanks. Yeah, indeed. Thanks you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your time. We hope you like, share, and subscribe. If you don't, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night, and we'll see you next one. This meeting is being recorded.
Tis being recorded. What?
Like C,
Like
D,
see, like yes, in Espanol
and in Italian.
and in Italian, I guess. I don't really know Italian, but you know
And then
Italian.
if you add an M, it's Portuguese.
Sim?
Theme.
Sim. Let's go.
D. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. We good?
Something like
All
that.
right. 3, 2.
Mhm. Oh, wait, no, we're not good.
Damn.
Oh my gosh. You know what I forgot? The first episode?
The first few episodes, it was like at this weird angle, and you could like see all of us. It was just weird.
It switched. I just want to say I'm not a tech wizard, okay? So I can only do what I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
See.
Let's keep the intro, and then we'll just start talking.
The intro, what was the intro?
When I was literally like, "Hey everyone, welcome back," and then you were like, "Oh, my microphone."
I don't have an accent like that. At least I don't
Oh.
think. Anyway, dumb money.
Yeah. Anyways, dumb money.